Welcome. I'm Todd Rafael with Eightfold. We're a talent intelligence, artificial intelligence platform. I'm here with Chris Brady. He's a global talent acquisition leader, and he's in Atlanta. And his company, Experian, you've probably heard of, big data business. Long ago it was called TRW, but you probably heard of it as one or the other, Experian. Chris Brady. We're here talking about what's on his mind and what he's working on and what he thinks others in workforce management, talent acquisition should be thinking about right now. You are, for one, talking and thinking about, and by the way, Chris has been instrumental in building a pipeline strategy at Experian, as well as sourcing function he built. They're now full lifecycle recruiters, but you are talking about pipeline building. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I appreciate the invite to talk with you. I think that, pipelining is one of those words that people have been talking about for a long time. Starting out, it was build your network. And when you work at an agency, you want to build pockets of talent. And so for us, I think being corporate TA, our goal is really, we're trying to predict which positions are going to open. So, you work with workforce planning and, being a data company, those are things that we're constantly looking at because you'll have specific skill sets that you're always going to hire. Some may be very hard to find. And then others, it's just constant. And so those are one of the things for us, trying to align all of our systems and then the recruiting team to put together plans and work with our hiring managers, our HR business partners to define what those look like. So for instance, saying in the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to hire how many folks that are cloud architects or whatever the specific skill set is. And I think the better we get at that, we started actually getting pretty serious about this 2 years ago. And then now I'm building it again. Like I'm actually have a meeting this week coming up to present, like what's the next 2.0 or 3.0? What does that look like? So definitely exciting times.
Because whether it's your company or some of the others, it's not like maybe June 1st, July 1st, September 1st, someone's going to say, hey, let's start thinking about hiring so-and-so. It's going to be like, you know what? It's time. Let's bring them on quickly. So it's like the economy maybe isn't going to be turned on like a light switch, but hiring in some jobs might be, right? You don't have a lot of time in some cases.
And, I think you're exactly right. You're going to have that time sensitivity where businesses are going to be looking to meet their numbers. And so, you're going to have your revenue generating roles, but then you're also going to have your infrastructure and then all the other technology roles where how do you make all those things work together? So for us, we're trying to get ahead of that like everyone else is because the hiring, may slow down, but we're just trying to set ourselves up for success after this pandemic, whatever you want to call it, passes through. Hopefully it's sooner than later for everyone. But I think for us, it's really just trying to figure that out. Like how quickly can we respond when we need to?
And you're also thinking about other work that talent professionals can do, like work on the career site as an example?
Yeah, so and if you talk to, I think most organizations, even if they're a smaller recruiting agency or a larger enterprise organization, they're looking at all of those areas. Like, how do we connect all those dots and make it one seamless process? So where candidates are applying, what does that process look like? Like for us, candidate experience is huge. Like we want to make sure that it's the same process pretty consistently, no matter where you apply. So we have a global TA leadership team, and really we're trying to make things consistent. So if you apply for a job in Malaysia, it's the same as if you applied for a job in Boston.
Yeah. You're also talking about and working with managers on what the workday might feel like, look like, video, all those kinds of issues in a more remote world? I know you've been working remote yourself for a while, but you're thinking about what that means to other people in the company now, if they're now having more people work remotely and candidates, more of them remote interviewing, right?
Yeah, it's probably one of the most interesting times, I think, in recruiting. I've been in recruiting late 2000s. I actually got into it in 1995. So when I started, there was one computer in the office. So I've been through a couple different cycles, but I think the interesting time now is that a lot of candidates are available. And so how do you balance that time? And then also take what your standard interview process was in the past, where the recruiter talks to the candidate, they have a conversation, submit the candidate, hiring manager does a phone interview, then we bring them in and try to figure that out. I think there's some really interesting things though that we are actually starting to learn from this process now, because with video, it's a lot easier to figure out culture fit and other things within the organization, depending on the role. So obviously if you're in sales, you got to be able to present well.
Yeah.
So those are just some things that we're, I think, learning. And I've kind of been pushing my team to look at, let's make everything video if we can, because at the end, I think that end process might even be better. It might be more efficient than it was before, but it just depends on the skills of, can you make a decision? You know, can I hire Todd after I just spent 30 minutes with him on the phone?
Yeah.
But I think you're so focused, because a lot of times when you bring somebody in the office, it's such a rushed group interview matrix environment with so many things going on that maybe you don't have the time to focus, where now it's like, I mean, you're still gonna have distractions. Like, is there any kids around or dogs or things like that? But
what happens if a candidate's interviewing for a job at Experian and they're interviewing, like, say I'm, and then my kid or my dog or my ferret walks up, or is that going to be a problem?
No, I think we are actually kind of
a ferret, just an example.
Yeah, I was going to say, wow, what else you got? But no, I mean, that's the thing I think that we're finding is interesting, is that you see the human piece of things, but you can see how somebody manages things. I mean, it's not, for us, we're not going to rule somebody out, because that's just part of life right now. Mm-hmm. But I think if their kid comes into the room and then they start swearing at them, we may have a problem with that, right? So I think you got to just figure out, what's that balance like? Because I remember there was a video going around with an anchor, I think it was in the UK, where the kid comes in the back of the office, and it's hilarious. But now that's like life. That's just part of life.
Yeah. Okay. And the workday, how that might be different with more remote work.
Yeah, so I think that balancing, your work-life balance is a key piece of just being successful in life, because one of the big things with Experian is we want you to be successful at home as well, not to be, oh yeah, you're the best sales engineer in the world, but at home, things are falling apart. So it's just one of those things that I think if you focus on it, but you have to set boundaries, and for instance, for me, I'm on the East Coast, but a lot of the hiring managers, a lot of the leaders, executives that I work with are on the West Coast. So I sometimes take calls at night. That's just but I've been doing that my whole life, just because in the recruiting business, I have to be available when people are available. And most of the time they're working. So now people are available all the time, but it's those text messages you get, hey, I can talk in 2 minutes, or hey, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, what time is it?
And with that, if someone calls you at noon or at 2, at 4, and you're going for a run, a bike, or swimming in the pool for 20 minutes or taking a nap, that's okay, is what you're saying, I think.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing, I think, encouraging people to be healthy, right? If you read anything about business, a lot of successful people wake up early in the morning and they do their thing. They have their me time where they're exercising, praying, or whatever they're doing. But I think the key piece of that is it's making them better during the day where they're not feeling like they're burned out. And so we're actually starting contests this week coming up. We actually have a kind of a celebrity trainer coming in to do some training with our talent acquisition team. So I think that's the culture pieces that will shine through now at a lot of different organizations where before that maybe just people were stuck in an office and maybe more segregated, where now it's like, we're all home, we're all together, let's do a happy hour, let's do whatever.
Yeah. Thank you. And good luck with everything. Again, it's Chris Brady. He's with Experian. He's a Atlanta-based global talent acquisition leader. Thanks.